Welcome to Diksha Online. So, in today's class, we will discuss the continuation of diffraction. So, it is lecture number 5 of wave optics. So, the very first concept that we have to discuss today is validity of ray optics, a concept called Fresnel's distance. Suppose if you have a small narrow slit, let us say slit width is equal to A. A is the width of the slit. Now, a parallel beam of light is made to fall on the slit. Now, there is a screen at a distance d from the slit. Now, this light beam will undergo diffraction at this aperture. So, it gets diffracted at an angle theta. So, suppose if you consider the angle of diffraction corresponding to first minima. So, this is undeviated path due to diffraction. Let us say this beam goes to this particular point. Let us say this is theta. So, in this case, if theta is equal to lambda divided by A, if theta is equal to lambda divided by A, then this will give you the distance between these two. This will give you the size of central maxima. So, this is size of central maxima. So, if theta is equal to lambda by A, then this point will be first minima. So, central maxima spreads from center of the screen till here. This is on one side. On the other side also it will spread till the first minima on the other side. Now, the angular width of central maxima will be equal to this theta. This is linear width, then this will be angular width. So, this will give you angular width of central maxima. Now, in traversing a distance equal to d, it has swept some distance. So, the beam has spread over a distance x from its undeviated path due to diffraction. See, before diffraction it was traveling like this. Due to diffraction there is spreading of the beam. By what distance it spreads? Let it be equal to x. So, x will be equal to, using s is equal to r theta formula, you can write d into theta will give you x. So, x is equal to d theta. So, d is this one and theta is lambda by a. So, you can write it as d lambda by a, where a is width of the slit. Now, here we will define a quantity called Fresnel's distance. So, up to this Fresnel's distance, the concept of ray optics, that is light always travels in a straight line, the rectilinear propagation concept will be valid. Rectilinear propagation of light. Rectilinear propagation concept, this concept will be valid up to this distance. So, that distance is defined as the distance of the screen, from the slit at which the spreading of light due to diffraction becomes equal to the size of the slit. So, here spreading of light, so spreading of light beam is equal to x. So, Fresnel distance is denoted by ZF. So, ZF is equal to d when x is equal to a. So, it is distance of the screen from the slit. Fresnel distance is distance of the screen from the slit, where the spread due to diffraction is x. That becomes equal to slit width. Right. So, when x is equal to a, d becomes equal to ZF. So, other way of writing this is when x is equal to a, then d becomes equal to ZF. So, substitute that in the given equation. So, x is equal to a is equal to ZF lambda divided by a. So, solve for ZF. ZF is equal to a square by lambda. So, this distance is called Fresnel's distance. So the importance of this is, if d is less than zf, then the broadening, the spreading of beam due to diffraction can be neglected. So diffraction effect is neglected. Diffraction effect can be neglected. So ray optics is valid. Ray optics is valid. So for distances greater than Fresnel distance, diffraction effects are prominent. Spreading due to diffraction becomes prominent. In that case, ray optics is not valid. Ray optics is not valid. So this is the concept of Fresnel's distance. So up to the distance equal to Fresnel distance, distance is measured from the slit. Up to that, ray optics will be valid. That is, spreading due to diffraction can be neglected. And Fresnel distance is defined as the distance of the screen from the slit at which the broadening of the beam or spreading of the beam due to diffraction becomes equal to slit width. So here A is slit width, lambda is wavelength of light used, and d is separation between slit and the screen. So it is the concept of Fresnel's distance that helps us to know under what conditions diffraction effects to be considered, under what conditions it need not be considered. See, otherwise it is impossible to produce a very narrow beam of light. A ray of light does not exist, then whatever you have learned in ray optics, it will be invalid. But up to a distance equal to Fresnel distance, you can assume it to be correct. You can consider it to be correct because diffraction effects are negligible. So within the limits of Fresnel's distance, ray optics concepts are valid. So it saves the ray optics. So the distance beyond which the divergence of the beam of a given width A becomes significant, it is called Fresnel's distance. So spreading due to diffraction becomes equal to the wavelength, the slit width. So it is given by A square by lambda. Now coming to the optical instrument. So first thing, why there is need for optical instrument? So optical instrument will help us see in three different ways. So we had discussed this in ray optics also. First thing, it will bring the object to the near point or far point wherever you have to bring it to. Then the second thing, it will produce magnification. So it will make the object look bigger by increasing the visual angle. Then the third one, it will enhance the resolution. It helps us to see better. So it will give you better details than seeing through the naked eye. So that is the need for optical instrument. Now 2 points of an object are clearly seen as separate if they subtend an angle of 1 minute at the eye. See, 1 minute means 1 by 60th of a degree. So if there are two objects, you are observing from a very large distance, let us say. So your eye will see them as two different objects if the angle between them, angle made by this line of sight and this line of sight. So if these two subtend an angle theta, where theta should be at least equal to or greater than 1 minute. If it is less than 1 minute, you will see them to be single object, they will not be separated. So the angle can become smaller in two cases. One is when the size of the object is very small. This happens in the case of microorganisms or microscopic objects. So this will give rise to the need for microscope. And the other case where this angle becomes smaller is when the object is at very large distance. See, this theta can become smaller if these two objects lie closer, or this eye is at a far off distance from this. By increasing the distance between object and eye, you can decrease this angle. or by bringing the objects closer. So the bringing the objects closer gives rise to the need for microscope, moving the observer far away from the objects, that will give rise to need of telescope. So for example, a star is seen as a point when viewed through naked eye, but some of the stars are bigger than sun, and sun is several times bigger than earth, you know it. So in such cases we use an optical instrument. So as I told you, here we use telescope. Now coming to the concept of limit of resolution and resolving power. So ability of an optical instrument to show two close lying point objects as distinct is called resolving power. So resolving power is ability of the instrument to show two close lying objects. Close lying objects, when you see through the optical instrument, it should form two separate images. Then if it can form two separate images of two closer objects, then we say it has greater resolving power. So this resolving power is entirely different from magnifying power. They are not at all connected. So magnifying power is ratio of size of image to size of the object. A high magnifying power may not always be associated with high resolving power. In some cases it may be, but generally it won't be. So magnifying power and resolving power, they are completely different. So the concept of this resolution, the resolving power, arises due to wave nature of light, particularly the phenomena of diffraction. Whenever a point source does not give a point image as expected by ray optics, but it has a finite spread, since every point on the object gives rise to a diffraction pattern. So image will not be sharp image, it will give rise to diffraction pattern. If two points on the object are close to each other, then their diffraction patterns overlap and we see spread out single image. So if two points are close by, you will not see two separate images or two separate diffraction patterns, you will see the overlapping of two diffraction patterns. So sharp image of the objects cannot be obtained. This is one of the consequences of diffraction. We had seen this in the last class. So this gives you the impression due to the smudging of two diffraction patterns. So we feel that the finer details of the object are lost. So this happens due to diffraction. So here we will define the concept of limit of resolution and resolving power. So limit of resolution of an optical instrument is the least angle that two objects have to subtend at the eye, such that they are just resolved. Just resolved means their diffraction patterns are just seen as separate. So resolving power of an optical instrument is the reciprocal of the limit of resolution. So our resolving power is ability of an optical instrument to form two clearly distinct images of any two objects lying close to each other. Now here is a diagram to understand this. So let us say we have a lens through which you are observing a point source. When you observe a point source, like, or if you observe a coin, let us say, then it will form a diffraction pattern which will be as shown in this. So intensity distribution will be shown along this graph. So at the center there will be central maximum, that is the central bright here. So that is named as Airy's disk. Beyond that there is dark, bright, so it will be a diffraction pattern. So this Airy's disk of this is for one point object. Suppose if there are 2 point objects, then what you see is overlapping of one more diffraction pattern over this. So it will be something like, this is the central bright of one, so this will be central bright of another one. So they overlap. Then what you see is like this. So you'll see it to be two separate objects seen to be single object. But if they are far apart, then you will see this as a separate object, this as a separate object. So you will see two objects. So here we say they are resolved. Here we say they are not resolved. So in terms of the intensity distribution pattern, suppose the central maximum of diffraction pattern of first object, if it is like this, then if I take another object, if the first minimum of the diffraction pattern of this falls exactly at the place of central maxima of first object. So if it is formed like this, then in this case we'll be just able to see two different objects. So there are two peaks, so you'll see two objects. So here we say it is just resolved. Then if the situation is something like this, this is diffraction pattern of first one and the diffraction pattern of second one is within this only. So if it is lying here, so if it is like this, now as a result what you see will be a single maximum. That means you will see only single objects. So here it is unresolved. So now if we consider a case where central maximum of first one is like this and central maximum of second one is, if it is here it is just resolved, if it is beyond this, then you have a very clear separate images. See, here it is just resolved, you are just able to see two objects. Here you are able to see two objects clearly, they are widely separated. So in this case we say they are well resolved. See, what are these graphs? They are intensity distribution in diffraction pattern produced by each object. Remember, whenever you form image of an object will not be a sharp image. If it is a point object, it will give rise to diffraction pattern. So this gives you the clear idea of resolution. So here it is just resolved, here it is well resolved, here it is unresolved. So here there is merging of the image. So whenever you observe any point object, it will give rise to this kind of diffraction pattern. So the central bright circle we call it as Airy's disk, and radius of this Airy's disk is given by 1.22 lambda f divided by d, where d is diameter of the aperture of the lens used, f is its focal length, and d is diameter of this, lambda is wavelength of light used. This will give you radius of the Airy's disk, and angular size of Airy's disk is given by sin theta is equal to 1.22 lambda divided by d. So r naught by f will give you sin theta. So by using small angle approximation, sin theta can be taken as theta. So theta will be equal to 1.22 lambda by d. So this is called limit of resolution. So if minimum this angle is formed at the eye, then we will be able to see the two separate images of close lying objects. The angle made by two objects at the eye, if it is greater than this, just we will be able to see the two objects clearer. This is called limit of resolution. Notice that it is a angle. So now this concept can be used to understand limit of resolution and resolving power of a telescope. So limit of resolution of a telescope is the least angle that the two objects have to subtend at the eye, so that they are just resolved, they are seen to be just resolved, and this angle is this is angle. So if I call it as d theta will be equal to 1.22 lambda divided by a or d. Here a is diameter of the aperture of the telescope. So this is called Abbe's formula. So this d theta is measured in radians, it is after all angle. SI unit of angle is radians. Now if you take the reciprocal of the limit of resolution, that will give rise to resolving power. So resolving power of a telescope is defined as reciprocal of the least angle that two objects have to subtend at the eye so that they are just seen resolved. So, resolving power will be equal to A divided by 1.22 lambda. So, it is measured in radian inverse. Now, resolving power depends on these two things, one is A, one is lambda. So, A is size of the aperture, diameter of the aperture. So, if you want to increase the resolving power, only way in which you can increase it is by increasing the diameter of the aperture, because in case of telescope, lambda is the wavelength that is emitted by the source. So, it will not be in our control, we cannot have any hold on that. Only thing we can do is we can use a filter, you can use a filter. So, if you can use a filter, by decreasing the wavelength of light used, you can increase the resolving power. Otherwise, only way in which you can increase the resolving power is by increasing the diameter of the objective. So, that is size of the aperture of telescope. That is why astronomical telescopes will have very large diameters for objective like 12 inch, 14 inch, 16 inch, 20 inch and so on. And the best telescope that we have has aperture of about 5 meter diameter. So, by decreasing the wavelength of incident light, you can have better resolution, but this is generally not used. Then the limit of resolution of human eye. Human eye acts as telescope. Remember, human eye acts as telescope, not as microscope. So, a typical pupil will have diameter of 2 millimeter. So, the limit of resolution of eye is about 1 minute of an arc. 1 minute of an arc is roughly 3 into 10 power minus 4 radians. So, this is limit of resolution of human eye. So, at a distance of about 1 meter, we will be able to see an ant. So, if it is smaller than the size of an average ant, then we will not be able to see it. That is what it says. Now, coming to microscope. So, in the case of microscope, limit of resolution is defined in a slightly different way. It is defined as minimum separation. Separation means it is a linear distance between two point objects to be seen as distinct. Limit of resolution of a microscope is defined as minimum separation between the two point objects to be seen as distinct. So, now we have derivation for calculating limit of resolution and resolving power of a microscope. Now, let us consider a compound microscope. We have a point object held in front of objective. Now, objective will form its image. So, let us say D is the diameter of the aperture, then F is the focal length of the objective. So, in the case of a compound microscope, object distance is slightly greater than F. So, U is greater than F, but U is approximately equal to focal length of objective. So, it is held very close to focus, but beyond focus. Then object is placed slightly beyond F, so that real image is formed. So, when real image is formed, when U is greater than F, this implies real image is formed at a distance V. So, this distance is V. So, now in this case, magnification should be equal to V by U, but U is roughly equal to F. So, that will give rise to V by F. Let us call this as equation 1. So, magnification can be defined only for a extended object, not for a point object. Now, let us say this object here forms an angle beta at the object. This lens forms an angle beta at the object. So, this is what we call it as semi-vertical angle. If you take this entire angle, this is vertical angle, half of that it is, so it is semi-vertical angle. Now, from this diagram, so if I take tan of this angle beta, semi-vertical angle, so it should be opposite side divided by adjacent. Opposite is, see, this total distance is d, this is half of it, so it should be d by 2 divided by this distance is u, u is roughly equal to f. So, we will get tan beta is equal to d by 2f, or you will get f is equal to d divided by 2 tan beta. You will get this. So here beta is semi-vertical angle of the cone of rays reaching the objective. So since beta is small, beta will be very small. In case of microscope, objective diameter will be small. So if this diameter is small, if d is small, then beta will also be small. So in that case, tan beta is approximately equal to sin beta. That means this distance and this distance will be roughly equal. So in that case, you will get f is equal to d divided by 2 sin beta, or we will get d is equal to 2f sin beta. So this is what we will get, call it as equation 2. Now when the separation between 2 points on a microscopic specimen is comparable to wavelength of light, then the diffraction effects become prominent. Instead of one object, if you have two close lying objects, then one image will be formed due to this, one image will be formed due to this. Now notice one thing, each image will form a diffraction pattern, and this is the Airy's disk of the image. This is the Airy's disk of the image. So at the image plane you have Airy's disk. Now the image of a point object will be diffraction pattern. The size of the image will be equal to, if this angle is theta, then the size of the image, this diameter will be equal to v into theta. So size of image, point object will not give rise to point image, it will give you extended image due to diffraction pattern. Size of image is given by v into theta. And what is this theta? Theta must be limit of resolution. So should be v into 1.22 lambda divided by t. So theta is the minimum resolvable angular separation. So two point objects in the object plane whose images are closer than this distance will not be resolved. So if the two objects are at a distance less than this, then they cannot be resolved. The corresponding minimum separation in the object plane, see, this is the size of image. So this is minimum size of image, so that you will have two separate images for two point objects. So now do the reverse. What should be the minimum separation in the object plane? Minimum separation in the object plane. So minimum separation in the object plane should be d minimum, that should be equal to v divided by m. V divided by m will give you f. So v divided by m into 1.22 lambda divided by d. Into f by v. So this is what we will get. So v divided by m into 1.22 lambda divided by d into f by v. See, this is size of image. So size of object we have taken it as d minimum. So by using m is equal to v by f, we will get this. So now what happens? V get cancelled. So you will get d minimum is equal to 1.22 lambda f divided by d. V get cancelled. but we know that d is equal to 2f sin beta. I can substitute that here. I'll get 1.22 lambda f divided by 2f sin beta, where beta is semi-vertical angle. So ff get cancelled. 1.22 lambda divided by 2 sin beta. This is d minimum. This is limit of resolution of a microscope. So once again let us repeat this. So our intention is to calculate the limit of resolution of a microscope. So magnification produced by microscope is V by U. Here in case of microscope, the U will be approximately equal to F. So it will be V by F. Now from this triangle, if you take tan beta is equal to d by 2 by F. So that is d by 2F. So F is equal to 2 by tan beta. Now since beta is small, because aperture will be small, so tan beta will be equal to sin beta. So you can write it as F is equal to d divided by 2 sin beta, or d is equal to 2f sin beta. Now if theta is the angle subtended by image at the objective, then v into theta will give you linear size of the image. Size of image is v into theta. V is image distance, theta is 1.22 lambda divided by d. So this should be the minimum size of the image at the image plane, so that the two objects are seen to be just resolved. Then we know that what should be the size of the object at the object plane. So magnification is V by F. We had proved it. So the size of the object should be equal to size of the image, that is 1.22 lambda divided by d into V divided by magnification, that is m. So I'll rewrite this step. So this will be, substitute for m is equal to V by F. So it will become V into 1.22 lambda divided by d into 1 by m is F by V. So d minimum you will get it to be 1.22 lambda f divided by d. 1.22 lambda f, V get cancelled. So now this will be d is equal to 2f sin beta. Substitute that, you will get the expression for limit of resolution. So reciprocal of this will give you resolving power. So resolving power is equal to 2 sin beta divided by 1.22 lambda. So further, if the medium between the specimen and the lens has some refractive index other than air, if it is, then d minimum will be equal to 1.22 lambda divided by 2n sin beta. So here n sin beta is called numerical aperture of microscope. It is called numerical aperture of microscope. So resolving power will become 2n sin beta by 1.22 lambda. So this is about the derivation. Now, so resolving power will be equal to 2n sin beta divided by 1.22 lambda. So resolving power can be increased by increasing refractive index of the medium between object and the objective, then by decreasing wavelength, and by increasing the semi-vertical angle. So accordingly we have different kind of microscopes. So by increasing the aperture of the size of the objective, this is the first one. Then by decreasing the wavelength, so if you use ultraviolet light, So such microscopes are called ultra microscopes. So if you use UV light, then wavelength will be decreased, resolving power will be more. Then if the medium surrounding the lens is changed, like an oil is used, then n will be greater, so numerical aperture will be greater. So because of that, the resolving power increases. So this kind of microscopes are called oil immersion objective microscopes, oil immersion microscopes or oil immersion type microscopes. Then another thing you can notice, for decreasing the wavelength of the wave that you are using, if you use an accelerated electron beam, their wavelength will be about 10 to the power 4 times smaller than that of normal visible light. So in that case, the resolving power increases by 10 power 4 times. So generally an electron microscope makes use of such an electron beam where wave nature of electron is used, and it has the resolving power which is about 50,000 times greater than that of normal light microscope. So what we call it as light microscope. Light microscope is a one in which light wave is used. So this is about increasing the resolving power of the microscope. Now let us move on to problems. So first problem, slit of width d is illuminated by a monochromatic light of wavelength 700 nanometer at normal incidence. Calculate the value of d for the position of first minimum at 30 degree angle, first secondary maximum at 30 degree angle. So there are two different cases. What should be the value of d for each case? So for the case A, so for first minimum, we know that condition for minima is d sin theta is equal to n lambda. For first minimum, n is equal to 1. So d sin theta is equal to lambda. So sin theta is equal to lambda by d. Now substitute and simplify. So lambda is, we need to solve for d. So d is equal to lambda divided by sin theta. So theta is given, it is 30 degree. Substitute that. So lambda is given 700 nanometer. So it is 700 into 10 to the power minus 9 divided by sin 30. Sin 30 is half. So that will become 1400 into 10 to the power minus 9 meter, or 1.4 into 10 power minus 6 meter. That is 1.4 micrometer. So this should be the answer. If first minimum has to be at an angular distance of 30 degree, then the slit width must be 1.4 micrometer. So the next case is, they have asked, what if the first minimum is at a distance of, at an angular separation of 30 degree, the first secondary maximum is at an angle of diffraction 30 degree. So in the second case, theta is equal to 30 degree and it is first secondary maximum. So we know that for secondary maxima, what is the condition? D sin theta is equal to 2n plus 1 into lambda by 2. So for first maximum, n is equal to 1. So d is equal to, this will become 2 into 1 2 plus 1 3 lambda divided by 2 sin theta. So they have given theta is equal to 30 degree. So this will become 3 into 700 into 10 power minus 9 divided by 2 into sin 30 is half. So half and 2 get cancelled. So this will be 2100 into 10 to the power minus 9 meter, or it will be 2.1 into 10 power minus 6 meter, that is 2.1 micrometer. So just by using the condition for maximum and minimum, we'll get this. Yes, we shall proceed further. Light of wavelength 590 nanometer falls normally on a slit of width 11.8 into 10 power minus 7 meter. The resulting diffraction pattern is received on a screen. Calculate the angular position of the first minimum. Also find the angular width of the central maximum. So what they have given here is wavelength of light is 590 nanometer and slit width A, or what we have taken as D, is equal to 11.8 into 10 to the power minus 7 meter. Now you need to find angular position of first minimum. So condition for minima is d sin theta is equal to n lambda. So for first minimum, d sin theta is equal to lambda. So sin theta is equal to lambda by d. Substitute the values. It is 590 into 10 to the power minus 9 divided by 11.8 into 10 power minus 7. So you will get it to be 50 into 10 to the power minus 2, that is nothing but 0.5. 0.5 is nothing but half. So sin theta is equal to half. So theta should be equal to 30 degree. This is the angular position of first minima. Now if this is the screen and here is the slit, angular position of first minima, if this angle is theta, so this is first minima on one side. If there is another first minima, if you consider on other side, they will be symmetrically placed with respect to center. At the center there will be central maximum. So if angular position of first minimum is theta, this is also theta because of symmetry. Now this will give you angular width of central maximum. So angular width of central maxima should be equal to 2 theta. So theta we found it to be 30 degree. So 2 theta is equal to 2 into 30 degree, that should be equal to 60 degree. So width of central maximum is distance between first minima on either side. So angular width of central maximum is equal to 60 degree. Yes, we shall proceed to next one. The diameter of the objective of a telescope is 1.5 meter. If the mean wavelength of light used is 6200 angstrom, then compute the smallest angular separation of two stars which can be resolved by it and the resolving power of the telescope. See, smallest angular separation means it is nothing but limit of resolution. So, it is limit of resolution that you have to find. Wavelength is given, so telescope objective size is given. So, what you can write? So, first one, minimum angular separation d theta is equal to 1.22 lambda divided by d, or we consider it to be a, whatever it is. So, d is the diameter of the aperture. So, that is 1.22 lambda. Lambda is what? It is 6200 angstrom. 6200 into 10 to the power minus 10 divided by diameter of the aperture is 1.5 meter. So, now calculate this. (1.22) into 6200 divided by 1.5 will be equal to you get 5042 into 10 power minus 10 radian, that is equal to 5.042 into 10 to the power minus 7 radian. So, now you need to find resolving power. Resolving power is equal to reciprocal of limit of resolution. So, that will be equal to 1 divided by 5.042 into 10 power minus 7. So, now take this to numerator, you will get 10 power plus 7. I will write it as 10 into 10 power 6 divided by 5.042. So, we will get it to be 10 divided by 5.042 is equal to 1.98 into 10 to the power 6 per radian. This is resolving power of telescope. Yes, we'll move on to next one. What is the minimum distance between two points such that will permit them to be resolved at 2 km distance using a terrestrial telescope of 6.5 into 10 power minus 2 meter diameter objective at wavelength of 5500 angstrom. So, what should be the minimum distance they are asking for? In the case of telescope, limit of resolution is not distance, it is angle. Now, let us say the separation, minimum separation between the two objects, let it be some x. Now, you are observing from this. So, if they are seen to be just resolved, this angle should be equal to t theta. This is the place where you have placed your telescope. So, this distance, let it be some r. Let this distance be r. So, now from this diagram you can write x is equal to r into d theta. So, x should be equal to r into d theta, that is r into d theta can be written as, it is limit of resolution. So, limit of resolution d theta can be written as 1.22 lambda divided by diameter of the object. Now everything is given, just substitute and simplify. R is given, it is 2 kilometer. This distance is 2 kilometer, that is 2 into 10 power 3 into 1.22. Lambda is 5500 into 10 power minus 10 divided by capital D is 6.5 into 10 to the power minus 2. Now just simplify this. So take this to numerator, it will be 10 power plus 5. If I shift the decimal places to this will become 10 power minus 7. So plus 5 minus 7 will be 10 power minus 2. You will be left with 2 into 1.22 into 5.5 divided by 6.5 into 10 power minus 2. So first simplify the 10 powers and then simplify the rest. So what do you get? 2 into 1.22 into 5.5 divided by 6.5. That turns out to be 2.065 into 10 power minus 2 meter. That is nothing but 2.065 centimeter. So telescope will be able to form separate images of these two objects, object 1 and object 2, if the separation between them, that is x, is at least equal to 2.065 centimeter. If it is less than this, then it will not be able to resolve the images. Yes, we shall move on to next one. Light of wavelength 5893 angstrom is used in an experiment with a microscope. If the semi-vertical angle is 50 degree, calculate the limit of resolution and the resolving power of the microscope. So they have not given what medium is there. So if nothing is given, assume that it is air medium. So n is equal to 1. So we know that the limit of resolution of a microscope, if I call it as some dx or d minimum, that is equal to 1.22 lambda divided by 2n sin beta. So now substitute the values. 1.22 lambda is what? 5893 into 10 power minus 10 divided by 2 into n is 1 into sin beta, that is sine of 50 degree. Now that is equal to 1.22. We will make this 5.893, then it will become 10 power minus 7 divided by 2 into sine of 50 degree, can check it from log tables. So just check for sine of 50 degree. So it turns out to be 0.7660. Now calculate this. 1.22 into 5.893 divided by 2, again divided by 0.7660, that will give you 4.69 into 10 to the power minus 7 meters. 4.69 into 10 power minus 7 meters. Now you need to find resolving power. So resolving power is reciprocal of limit of resolution. So it should be 1 divided by what we have got, 4.69 into 10 power minus 7. 4.69 into 10 to the power minus 7. So take this to numerator, it will be 10 to the power 7 divided by 4.69. Now this 10 power 7 I will write it as 10 into 10 to the power 6. Now we will get it to be 10 divided by 4.69 is equal to 2.132 into 10 to the power 6 per meter. This is resolving power. Yes, we shall move on to next one. Limit of resolution of a microscope in air is 2.4 into 10 power minus 7 meter. If the semi-vertical angle is 52 degree, calculate the wavelength of light used. What will be its resolving power if it is immersed in a liquid of refractive index 1.42? So now first find the wavelength of light used. So we know that limit of resolution dx is equal to 1.22 lambda divided by 2n sin beta. So we need to find lambda. Lambda is equal to 2n sin beta into dx divided by 1.22. So that will be 2 into, it's air, so n is equal to 1. Sin beta is sine of 52 degree and limit of resolution is given, it is 2.4 into 10 to the power minus 7 divided by 1.22. So now first find sine of 52 degree. So you can use log tables for this. So sine of 52 degrees 0.7880. So this reduces to 2 into 0.7880 into 2.4 divided by 1.22 into 10 power minus 7. So now simplify this. So it will give you 3.1 into 10 to the power minus 7 meter. So that is equal to 3100 angstrom. So this is the wavelength of light that is used. Now you need to find resolving power when it is immersed in a liquid of refractive index 1.42. So inside liquid of n is equal to 1.42, dx will be equal to, dx in liquid will be equal to dx in air divided by n. So resolving power will be equal to n divided by, resolving power in liquid will be n divided by dx in air. So that is equal to 1.42 divided by dx in air, we found it to be it is given to be 2.4 into 10 power minus 7. Now simplify this. So if 10 power minus 7 goes to numerator, 10 power plus 7 it will be. So I can write it as 14.2 . So 110 I will take with this 1.42, it will become 14.2 divided by 2.4 into 10 to the power 6. So this turns out to be 14.2 divided by 2.4, that's equal to 5.917 into 10 to the power 6 per meter. So this is resolving power of liquid. See, in the solution given here, they have missed this 1.22, that's why they have got different answer for this. For this one they have not used that, so they got correct answer. Same thing happened in previous problem also. So 1.22 is not included in the formula, that's why they have got different answer. This is correct. What we have done here, this should be correct. So that completes problems on diffraction and also the concept of diffraction. In the next class we will see the concept of polarization. So that's all for today's class. Thank you.